making my mouth water. Isn't that awesome? I love it. Hey everybody, I'm Vera Stewart and welcome to the VeryVera Show. You know, I've been working really hard on my cookbook, and in thinking about what would be really fun to do today, I thought I'm going to choose my 3 favorite books. Well, do you have any idea what a project that was? I have so many cookbooks, but I narrowed it down by thinking I want to put a really great meal together, and maybe some of you are just like me. I'm kind of in a rut about what to make for a dinner party. So I'm going to start with James Farmer's book that I absolutely love, Dinner on the Grounds. And the recipe that I'm going to make today out of there is a bacon-wrapped pork tenderloin. Fantastic. Okay, back to basics with Ina Garten. Have many of her books. Absolutely love this orange glazed pecan riled rice. And then finally, Sarah Foster's new book. And you know, chocolate is my absolute favorite. So I have to end the meal with the delicious Po de Creme chocolate dessert. So I cannot wait to get started. Well, as most of you know, I've been working on my cookbook, and in doing that, I've been flipping through some of my old ones. And you know, you get so concentrated on a new cookbook, and you use it, and you use it, and you use it, and then you put it up, and then you go on to the next one. Well, I cannot tell you how much fun I've had going back through some of my absolute favorites that I've had for quite a while. So the recipe that we're going to start on first is the rice recipe, which is Ina Garten's. It has pecans and orange zest. It is delicious. Grapes, unbelievable. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on it because it has to cook for a while, and then we'll start on the pork. All right, so I've got some butter melting in my pan. I'm going to add in water. And this is actually a wild rice blend. It has got so many different rices in it, which makes this salad so colorful. Now I've got some chicken stock. And when you're looking for this sort of thing, I actually picked this up at the fresh market. They had so many to choose from, I really didn't even know which one I was gonna do. I'm gonna put in a little bit of salt and some fresh pepper, and I'm gonna let that come to a boil and have a wooden spoon handy, because one of the things you're going to want to do is during the cooking process, you're going to need to go stir this every now and then. So it's going to take a little bit of time for that to cook. So while that's getting ready to boil, we're going to come over here to the pork. So Fresh Market has these pork tenderloins on sale all the time. So when you see that, you need to remember this recipe. The nice thing about it, for all you busy moms out there and folks that cannot get out of a rut of the same old food, this is so great because you can make it, put it in the refrigerator, let it marinate overnight, and then come back and cook it. So I've got some of their market bacon, and I've cut the pork tenderloin in half crosswise. And now you're just gonna wrap this around. So, you know, this is like, this would certainly be all the men in my family's absolute favorite, would be this dish, because it's pork and bacon, for heaven's sakes. So I went ahead and did one. Now I'm just gonna take a fork and we're gonna just poke holes in it so the marinade can go through. All right, so the marinade is one of the best parts of this. I've got some brown sugar, soy sauce, which is one of the things about this that really gives it quite the flavor and that golden caramel look. I've got salt, red pepper flakes, a little grated onion, some white vinegar, garlic salt, and then finally some honey. We're just going to blend this together. And you know, this is one of those recipes that certainly if you can do it overnight, you're going to get the best flavor. But if you're in a hurry, you know, as long as it's marinated for a couple, 2 to 4 hours, it will be fine. So let's just whisk this together. That rice is starting to come to a boil over there. So I'm going to give it a quick stir. See what I mean about how colorful that's going to be? All right, now we're going to pour this over. Yum, yum, yum. And this is the dish that I'm going to cook it in. So it's just going to sit and marinate. And that sauce is actually going to thicken and caramelize. It's going to be delicious. So when we come back from the break, I'm going to be checking on the rice. I've already marinated this a day ahead, and we're going to get that ready to go in the oven. And then we're going to put the rice dish together. So come back with me in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everybody, and I was busy during the break finishing that delicious rice. It's been cooking quite a while, and I've transferred it to a glass bowl, covered it with some saran, and it's piping hot. Oh, it's just gorgeous. I love it. This is Ina Garden's orange pecan wild rice. And if you're looking for something really different to use with any entree, I hope that you're going to try this recipe. And as always, our recipes are available at VeryVera.com. So I'm ready to add all the other yummy ingredients to this. We're going to start with a little bit of black pepper. I've got a tablespoon of butter. And the thing I love about this is the color. Bright green spring onions. And not just pecans, we're talking toasted pecans. And leave them chunky, because one of the things that I like the most about this recipe is how hearty it is. You know, the rices are different, unusual, and now color, this actually goes with my sweater, is the orange zest. So just the aroma of this, you know, is unbelievable in itself. And then as long as you're zesting an orange, go ahead and get a little bit of that orange juice off of it. And then grapes, red grapes. And this is where I kind of, you know, I always say I'm going to put a twist to the recipe. Well, I'm twisting Ina's today because she calls for green grapes. And I actually made that ahead and have the green grapes in the one that I made ahead of the show. But I thought after I made it, I thought, you know, I think the red would look really good too and would make the onions really pop. So now all you're going to do is just stir this up, blend it together, and I'm telling you, if you do not try this recipe, you are missing the boat. Because number one, all of those different rices are so unusual. And then you add in fruit. Like right now, I can smell the onions. I can smell the orange zest. The fact that I've used toasted pecans in there gives it a different flavor than if it was just the raw pecan. There's a little bit of an extra crunch. But I can see this certainly today with the pork tenderloin. In fact, I could stuff the pork tenderloin with this in a different fashion to use pork tenderloin. But wouldn't this be great with turkey or ham? There's just so many things. And you know, rice is just the easiest dish to prepare, and certainly this one just gives you a lot of flexibility with the colors that are in it. This can really dress up the plate. So let's talk a little bit about the one that I made yesterday. Okay, so as I said, I did this one with green grapes, and I'm thinking today when I'm looking at it, because this is one of the recipes in her book that I've never tried, I thought, you know what, I bet you anything that recipe would be good cold. So I have experimented here, and during the break I said I'm going to try this cold, and I'm here to tell you that it is delicious. I mean, the cold, the crisp, the fact that the flavors are really coming through, and if you wanted to do something a little different, you could put a mayonnaise dressing with that. So now you've got a salad out of a dish that instead of being left over and zapped and used again, you can do a cold salad. So keep this in mind when you're planning your meals, that the entree sometimes is always going to be brown or it's going to be a light color. When you're looking for a side dish, you want to add color. You're going to have a vegetable in this. You've got fruit in it. There's so many things that you can do with it. And when we come back from the break, we're going to get started on Sarah Foster's chocolate dessert that if you are a chocolate lover, you are going to die to make this. It is fantastic. Death by chocolate, Absolutely. So come back with me in just a few minutes. Okay, this is Rice 101. So today we're going to talk about 5 different rices, how they're processed, how you cook them, and what dish is best to serve those in. So let's get started. Instant rice is pre-cooked white rice. If you buy it in a box, it's also been dehydrated. Instant rice is much quicker to cook than regular white rice, and it is incredibly versatile. Brown rice experiences less milling than white rice, leaving a fibrous hull. As a result, brown rice has a nuttier flavor and firmer texture than white rice. Feel free to use it in dishes with big flavor. Basmati rice is long, slender grained rice with a naturally sweet, aromatic flavor. Basmati is most often used in Indian cuisine. Arborio rice is short, fat, and slightly oval-shaped. Arborio rice retains much of its natural starch in processing, which makes it perfect for creamy risotto. Wild rice is actually not rice at all. It's the seed of a semi-aquatic grass. Even so, it is cooked and used just like rice. Wild rice is great in hearty fall dishes, soups, and casseroles. Welcome back, everybody, and during the break I was busy. I got that pork tenderloin out of the oven, wrapped in bacon, smothered in a marinade. Obviously you can see that the marinade cooked down. It's got a nice crisp look on that bacon. I can't imagine that anybody would not be thrilled to see that be the main dish for any dinner party or any family gathering. So I hope you'll try that recipe, and as always our recipes are available at VeryVera.com. All right, so I've been flipping through Sarah Foster's brand new cookbook, which I absolutely love, and the chocolate Po de Creme. Po de Creme is just like casserole and souffle to me in terms of writing a menu. It just sounds elegant, it sounds delicious, but essentially what it is pot of cream, and it can either be vanilla or chocolate. And for me, it would have to be chocolate, but it's basically like a chocolate mousse, but you don't have to go to all the trouble. So right now, I've got some half and half in my saucepan, cooking it really slow, just want to get it to a simmer. And I've got a whole vanilla bean that I'm going to take my wolf paring knife, and I'm just going to split it right down the center. And the seeds in a vanilla bean are just microscopic. They're just, it almost looks dusty. They're just in there waiting to be spilled out to make something delicious. All right, so I'm going to add that in. They're just little black pieces. You know, when you buy the Breyers ice cream and you see all those flecks, that's the little flecks, and there they go. That's what brings out all the flavor in this dish. So let me turn this down just a little bit because it's just about where I need it to be. So now I'm going to add in bittersweet, I'm making a mess, bittersweet chocolate, semi-sweet chocolate, and sugar. And this is just going to get mixed up. I'm going to let that melt. Wow. Now it's looking like something. Okay, so I'm going to turn it down even more just to get it at just right at the simmer point. And now we're going to mix the rest of it, which is beaten eggs. And you have to be careful now. I'm going to show you when we get ready to add that hot liquid. Since you're going to be adding it to eggs, you have to move pretty quickly. Got a little bit of salt and Kahlua. Oh my goodness. Now you're talking. Now you're talking favorite chocolate dessert ever. All right, so I've got that ready to go. And in the meantime, prior to getting ready with this, I took 4-ounce jelly jars. I've got those good and clean, sitting in a square casserole dish. and they're gonna go into a water bath when we cook it. All right, so this should be just about ready. That vanilla bean is in there somewhere. So let me grab him out. And now we're gonna go pretty fast with this into the egg mixture. And you just wanna whisk really quickly so that the eggs don't cook like a scrambled egg in your chocolate mousse. Just go fast. And here again, all that Hershey's chocolate, we love it, is going in there. Now I'm going to take my spatula and get the rest of that chocolate out of there because you don't want to miss any of it. And you don't have to prepare the jars at all. You just want to make sure they're good and clean. And actually 4 ounces is the perfect amount for this recipe because it's pretty rich. And we're going to top it with some whipped cream and maybe put a little bit of cinnamon. So that's going to be really nice. All right, so now to make it not be a gigantic mess, since I've already made one, I'm going to pour this into a liquid measuring cup that has a spout. And again, I'm going to get all that chocolate out of there. And this might be one to do that would be fun in front of your older children. So now we're going to just pour this in, and I've already made this ahead. This will go about to the rim on each one of these, and then you're going to pour your water in halfway up that jar, and it's going to go in the oven. When we come back from the break, I'm going to put this on some of my beautiful pottery that I recently picked up in Highlands, North Carolina. It's going to look fantastic, so come back with me in just a few minutes. All right, we've done 3 different cookbooks. We've had 3 unbelievable recipes, and now we have 1 great meal. This is fantastic, and honestly, if you're looking for something different and you've been doing the same old thing, this meal is what you need to do. I'm just thrilled about it. So we started with the bacon-wrapped pork tenderloin, which is James Farmer's recipe, and we took the pork tenderloin, cut it in half crosswise, wrapped it in the Fresh Market's market bacon, put that in a marinade that had brown sugar and soy sauce and onion and vinegar and just so many wonderful things. Let it sit overnight, and then we baked it in a 300-degree oven for a couple of hours. And what you have is a moist, delicious, crispy on the outside pork tenderloin that the leftover marinade, remember when I talked about that, drizzled on the top. Look at that. And you could even add some cornstarch to this and make a gravy out of it. So that is just fantastic. And this is 1 tenderloin. So imagine what it would be like if you had a big platter and you had lots of people coming over and you did 6 or 8 of these. Very easy to do, no fuss with the grill. Okay, the second thing we did was Ina Garden's orange pecan wild rice, and it is fabulous in this beautiful pottery pot. As I said, I went to Highlands this past weekend, bought this beautiful pottery. I love the way it looks with these dishes. And you know, again, just on the presentation part, you just want to pull up some of the things to just make it look exceptionally well when you get ready to do the presentation. And then in preparation for my cookbook, which will be coming out soon, I've been pulling in a lot of heirloom silver pieces. And this is where I love to mix wood, pottery, and silver. These are just really exceptional pieces, and you can pick these sorts of things up in flea markets, you know, and this is where not worrying whether the patterns meet, but a spoon like this that's got such a big shell at the bottom just allows 1 big scoop and you're done. I love that spoon. Okay, I'm leaving the best for last. Sarah Foster's chocolate dessert is so delicious. I mean, cooked in these little jars. You could wrap this with twine. It is just Po de Creme. It is pot of cream. It is fantastic. So now we're going to add a little bit of fresh whipped cream, just dolloped on the top. And you know, one of the things about a great dessert that the guests can pick up and walk around the house with it. There's no reason why, there's nothing to cut, there's nothing that's gonna spill, it's not gonna make a mess all over the house. And you know, they could walk outside if they wanted to. So this is really a fun, really good dessert. All right, so just again, there's nothing like freshly whipped cream, and you certainly want to make sure that you garnish everything attractively. A little bit of extra cinnamon on that would be good. So let's get out of the rut of always going to the internet for recipes. Let's remember these beautiful books. And speaking of beautiful books, James Farmer has a brand new one, and you just will want to get this. It's all about homes. It's just fabulous. So be sure to pick that up. Go on Amazon, go on our website to get any of these books. And remember, no matter what you do, do it in good taste. Hope you'll join me again next week.